Hello everybody, today is day 43 of 90, and if you didn't notice yesterday, I didn't really work. I had a pre-recorded video that I put out, but yesterday was Remembrance Day in Canada, which is a pretty important day, at least I think that it is. It is the day where we remember the signing of the armistice for World War One. That happened on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. And normally well, at least in the small town that I used to live in, we would ring the church bell 11 times. And it's a holiday, so everybody was kind of home and we had a nice dinner, and yesterday was kind of just a day where we remember the sacrifice that the soldiers gave us in the war, World War One, World War Two, to keep our freedoms. And uh, normally the school day before the weekend, there is a presentation where there's the reading of Flanders Field and a couple other student-led presentations. There is the carrying of the flags that get put up in the front, and then the carrying of the wreaths. I don't remember what each of the wreaths mean because it's been a few years since I've been to one, but there is at least 3 wreaths from what I remember. And of course, leading up to it, there is a bunch of there's a poster contest and a poem contest, and just in the couple weeks leading up to it, we're learning about the war and we're learning about what happened and we're learning about why these men fought and died for us. And I've always had a fascination with the war, why it happened, why there had to be so much chaos and destruction. And that was when I was super young, so super naive, and didn't know it's just a thing that humans did throughout all of history. But I always had a fascination with World War One because it was just kind of always around. I had great grandparents who fought in World War Two. My great grandfather was a tank driver. So I've had family in the military. I do still have family in the military. One of my teachers was on TV visiting the Vimy Ridge Memorial for the 100-year celebration and finding her family's name on it. And I find the whole 20th century and the major wars that happened, like the Korean War, that has been a major fascination of mine. I absolutely love the TV show MASH, even though that is a television show about the real event and not exactly one to one. It all kind of leads into the fascination of warfare, and even now, modern warfare, and what the possible next world war is going to look like and how it's going to be fought. I've also had a fascination with the events that led up to the Second World War, because it was definitely a long time coming. You could see it from a decade away. There was just so much building that culminated in this basically slow cooker of problems that led to the war happening. So I normally take yesterday very seriously, because it is a day of mourning, and I believe it is a national day of mourning that I believe a lot of people need to take seriously, whether you agree with war or not, because I very much agree that there is better ways to solve problems than having armies of men who may or may not agree with you fighting on the battlefield. Nothing, no disagreement is worth death. And a lot of the time I notice that wars are usually fought through land, and family claims and all of that, and sure, that's back in like feudal times and medieval times. And the reason why the wars in the 20th century are a little more brutal is because they were fought over world domination. That's what Hitler wanted, was world domination. So I do believe that World War II was a necessity to stop that, but I also feel like if the German people were more taken care of by other governments, that they wouldn't have felt so helpless as to put someone like that in power, because he did come to power in a democratic way, and that came because of a feeling of helplessness by the people, and he promised a better world. As you can see through history, that did not happen. But it also shows that people are willing to make deals with the devil for a chance of a better life when they are desperate. Unfortunately, that did cause millions and millions of deaths, both civilian and military. And also, the mindset around World War I was super fascinating. From what I remember, it has been a couple years since I looked into it, but from what I remember, the thought process was this was just going to be a 6-week war, and it was going to be very heroic for the victors, and it was going to bring honor to their families. That, hey, they fought in battle and won. And that 6 weeks turned into 4 very brutal long years that saw a lot of advancements in military technology. And I just find it so interesting that the mindset behind that is like, yeah, it's going to be whatever, some people are going to die, but that's just what happens in battle. And I find that mindset to be very distasteful, to say the least. So, yesterday I did not write anything, I didn't record anything. It was just a day of remembering we are here because people died for what we have, and that's a very important thing to remember, whether you agree with it or not. But yeah, that's kind of all that I have to say on the topic. It has been a part of my life for so long that I felt like I should say something about it, but I am certainly nowhere near the right person to ask. I There's millions of videos on the internet that would do a lot better job explaining the day and the importance around it. But yeah, that's kind of all that I have to say for right now. Catch you all on the flip side.